So Derek Carr held his ground. Mickey Loomis gave in. We've got a $40 million restructure to talk about. What it means in 2025, what it means in 2026, possibly what it means beyond that. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. So Carr's 2025 contract now is what they're calling a simple restructure. As far as I can tell, that's exactly what it is. Which there's no additional terms, clauses that have been reported, or anything triggered. And that's the one I'm kind of worried about, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be this is just straightforward. The 30 million he was going to get guaranteed on Friday if he was still on the roster. They guaranteed that now. He had the 10 million from the roster bonus last year that was guaranteed this year. Total of 40 million. They took roughly 38.745 million of that 40. Gave it to him as a sign bonus, prorated it out, which ultimately went through 25, 26, 27, and 28. And he got basically a fifth year now in 2029, and that's where the rest of that proration is going to wind up. The balance is 1.255 million, which is the veteran minimum. That's his salary for this year. It's guaranteed. So when you add the signing bonus to the 1.255, you come up with 40 million. 40 million guaranteed. He didn't take the pay cut. Mickey gave him exactly what he wanted. And I guess there was no wiggle room when Mickey came out 10 days ago in freaking Indianapolis and said, we envision him as our starting quarterback and we want to win, yada, yada, yada. You should have just soon did it right. As soon as you said it, Mickey, you should have just made it happen right then and there. Because I fully expected that's where we were headed. I was hoping we could negotiate something out a little lower this year and give him something next year. A lot of people saying that this is, in fact, a one-year deal. Maybe. Maybe not, because there's a couple things going on in 2026. But for 2025, you went through all this stuff and gave an additional 40 million to reduce your cap. Reduce his cap number to 20 million, actually 20.462 million total. That's his hit this year. 19.2 million is dead money from his previous contract and the first year of the new signing bonus he just got, plus the 1.255 million salary. But roughly brought the almost $31 million in cap space to the Saints. So we were pushing 40 something, somewhere around 8 or 9 now. So it does give us the room that we needed. And I initially thought all on that why this was going to happen. But like I said, I was hoping some type of pay cut this year, deferment to next year, the rest of the money, something along those, just not taking this hit all at once. Because this restructure scares me just a tad for reasons. And what's going to happen in 2026 is his cap number goes to 69.2 basically million. 50 million of that is his base salary for next year, but not one penny of it is guaranteed. So what that basically means is this is what it looks like currently. This is what it actually, let me highlight that. That's what it looks like currently with the numbers we were just talking about. When you get to 2026, there's this 69.2. There's his new prorated adjustments. There's the now 2029's added in there with dead money at 7.7 million. But this 50 right here is not guaranteed. In effect, that's what his cap number looks like. And if you add up, he's here for 2025. So when you get into 2026, when you're talking about his cap number, that if you're going to cut him, and it doesn't matter if you're cutting him post June 1st next year or pre-June 1st, the only real money right now that he has in that contract, it is all dead money, and the total of that dead money is 59.67 million left over in those last 4 years from 26 to 29. The scary part of this is what terrifies me. Because this 50 million is sitting here, it's not a voided contract. in 2026. It's a actual contract. What I mean by that is right now we have three players we talked about in Young, Pascal, and Johnson, who they have voided contracts. So they're pretty much in the same boat, except they have no salary for this year or any other year. They're all voided years. And in a few days, that's going to add another 17.4 million of dead money. Because the only thing on it is dead money. Because that 50 million, even though it's unguaranteed, is hanging out on Carr's contract next year, which scares the living bejesus out of me, is this is not a 1-year deal between the two parties, like everybody's speculating. But what it actually is, another chance a year from now, Mickey to be sitting in a combine and go, we really think we can win with Derek Carr. We view him as our starting quarterback, and we go the same old song and dance next year to get cap compliant. Now we've got 50 million dangling out there that we'll go ahead and guarantee. And ultimately, what it'll mean at that point is if it's a simple restructure and nothing else is added, then it becomes a voided contract in 2027. But on that voided contract, it's going to be over $100 million of dead money by that point. So we're not out the woods on all this yet. Still have a year to play this out. And if Carr takes us to a Super Bowl and wins it, fine. We'll have a different conversation then. But I don't think anybody's looking at this team right now going, I know I'm not. They're going to have to. I'm doubting Thomas. They're going to have to show me a whole lot to convince me they can win 8 or 9 games and even get within shouting distance of whoever's going to be in leading the division, Tampa Bay, Atlanta. More than likely one of those two. But Mickey just can't help himself. Mickey loves to spend money. Mickey spends money. Mickey's going to keep spending money until we have some type of intervention and somebody gets in there and goes, Mickey, stop it. And it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. And it can't happen because we're still over the cap, 8 or 9 million, somewhere roughly in there. So they still have to make moves. Next possible moves is Cam Jordan and Taysom Hill. We talked about that the other day. As much as I love them, we can't pay them what's on their contracts right now. So it's either pay cut for both of them, or that's likely your two post June 1st post designated cuts. You still have to find the rest of the money. So you're still restructuring, whether it's a simple restructure like we did with Carr or the one we did with McCoy, where he had some bonuses tied in there that we rolled into. So he got a little lagniappe, so to speak, a little extra in that deal, but it wasn't like $500,000, something like that. Pretty much same thing with Ruiz, Granderson, Werner, all or some combination of the three. I think Ruiz and Granderson, I think you need both of them to be able to become cap compliant by Wednesday. But you might be able to do one in Pete Werner, maybe. There's a few other guys in that Pete Werner range, which 2, 3, 4 million in there that might get you where you need to be. But Ruiz and Granderson definitely should safely get you there. But then you still have to deal with the voided contracts that are going to hit on, like we mentioned earlier, Young, Johnson, and Pascal. One of the rumors pre-Carr signing yesterday afternoon or restructuring yesterday afternoon, or they restructuring Carr yesterday afternoon, however you want to put it, was that the Saints had already worked something out with Chase Young, which he would be a little over $9 million cap hit of that 17.4. And it is conceivable you could, we mentioned this also, you could work out a deal some kind of way with him. It's probably pretty close to that estimated what they're looking at, 17 million. That's what Spotrac and PFF were guessing what his market value would be. Get pretty close there and maybe save $1 million or $2 million, possibly. Or break even where you're not really taking anything more than that $9 million hit to lock him down for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever they're going to do. So that was the rumor. Hadn't heard anything more. Hadn't heard anything real concrete, what they were doing. What the plan was if they got Carr on the simple restructure, which is actually how it turned out. Other than, quite honestly, Mickey is, the other thing he signaled when he signaled Carr was coming back was we're spending money in free agency. Because Mickey has an addiction and he can't help himself. So at this point, as far as the next move there, once you clear the cap space and you get into free agency, which is why I don't have a huge problem with Young, because he's young enough. If but what scares me is you may be rolling into another Marcus Davenport here. I don't know, but at 25, 26, you roll out the new contract that's market value, what they think it should be for him. You you pretty much have him locked in for most of the rest of his career with that contract. He's just got to show up and produce. He has to. Kind of where my concern is. Um, Anybody else you bring in, it can't be 30, 31, 32-year-old contracts that are going to require very similar structure and stupid dead money coming somewhere down the line over the next 3 or 4 years in a lame, desperate attempt to, I don't know what, win the division, make the playoffs. I think that's what Mickey's stated goal has been the last 3, 4, 5 years. So if you're going to do this, state your goal as we're going to win a Super Bowl. But doesn't have the balls to admit that, because he has the brains to realize we're so far away from that. He would be laughed out of the building. That might be the final straw to actually get him fired, because then I think at that point, he's completely delusional. But the sum of this whole deal, just to wrap it up, just we knew. I think deep down we all knew. Some were willing to admit it more than others. Some people are still in denial that it actually happened, much less that we were going to do it. But we weren't going to back. He wasn't going to back down from, I want my full, I'm not taking a pay cut. I want my full 40 million. And we weren't going to have the balls to challenge him. And ultimately, if it came down to it, where he was refusing and to avoid doing what we did, which was giving it to him on a simple restructure, to go, well, good luck to you. We'll let you know whether we're cutting you pre-June 1st or post-June 1st. There was really your only two options at that point, once you couldn't work a deal with him. So we'll keep throwing it, keep kicking it down the road. It is what it is at this point, and I'm not surprised it happened. I was just hoping it wouldn't. Not this way. Even if he got his 40 million over 2 years, I was kind of okay with that. It would, without a massive restructure of money like we gave him, the whole deal, we could have worked around that a little bit. But this, you're in it for a while with him now. I'm mighty afraid that there's a very good chance this isn't just the one and done deal that everybody's kind of making it out to be. It could be. But regardless of how he plays, and that's what if he plays to earn it, and I would require a deep playoff run to be part of that. Because if you wanted this money where we were limited in what we could do, well, then you're going to have to make everybody better and go win with them. There's no excuses about defense ain't good enough, offensive line ain't good enough. We're paying you to overcome that. So you got to do it. Bottom line. You wanted it. You got it. Go make it happen. That's going to pretty much be my take on the whole deal for the 2025 season. And also, well, Mickey, you gave it to him. So ultimately, it all falls on you. So just a quick hit on the I was going to do this last night on the full extension, getting the full 40 mil guarantee on him in 2025. But I honestly did want to wait to confirm the best I could. It was a simple restructure, no other stuff involved. The only concern I had, even on a simple restructure, depending on how the contract was written, sometimes stuff like that can trigger something else. Like part of that 50 million next year, like 10 or 20 million have become guaranteed next year because they gave the restructure. But I don't think anything like that's on it. I think it's as simple as we stated forward. As we stated earlier, going forward, excuse me. I think it's a simple restructure. That seems to be what it is. We'll just have to deal with it and move it down from that. They're still going to have to draft great. That's on the books. And whatever they spend in free agents got to be smart money on good players. Period. In the store. You can't even miss there right now. We'll see how it all turns out. First time here, please go ahead. Give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what's going on down in the comments. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, especially in the next few days. And I think it's been mentioned that, and I would agree with this statement. Mickey's true intentions are going to be revealed over probably the course of the next 3, 4, 5 days total. When you're going to look at, are we going to get the two players we need to take pay cuts, take pay cuts? If they don't, how we're going to handle it? Who's getting restructured? How are they going to deal with the 17.4 void year dead money guys? And what are they going to do in free agency? They were committing to us that part of this deal was to go ahead, and we're jumping in on that. Can they still do it? That's what you gave the full guarantee to Derek Carr was all about on the restructure. Let's see who you bring in. But dear God, whoever you bring in, please make sure they're going to be around for a while over the life of that contract and helping us win football games. And if that doesn't happen, this is only going to get worse over the short term and probably the long term. So, till I see you next time, I'm Tim. Peace out and who dat.